Welcome to the Hot Take. I'm George and today I'm with
Ben.
After 12 years of being in business, we thought now is a good time to get onto social media. So some of you may have already seen some of our content and reels that have been coming out recently. And what we wanted to do is a bit of a longer form piece of content called the Hot Take. Now, what we'll be covering on the Hot Take is weekly episodes covering new products, all things infrared heating, and answering your questions. So today we have got the Crest fan. Ben, take it away. What is this fan?
The good thing about these is the number of features and modes that it's got to be able to work. And as you can see at the moment, it's going through its 3D oscillation, 180 degrees. So it'll go all the way up, all the way down, and back around in a motion for it, which you love, especially in your bedroom at night, because it helps to keep cold air in one part of the room, because that's fully adjustable. It's up to 180 degrees, so you've got all the settings in between.
I don't want to alarm you, but it's working as it is now, but I don't see any cables.
No.
Talk to me about that.
So, with it being portable, and again, no cables, it does have a battery in it, which is charged via a very, very simple magnetic charger cable, which, as you can see, quite a pleasing thing is, it's just magnetic. So, satisfying was the word I was looking for. So, it also means in the night, if you get up and you want to unplug the fan or plug the fan in and you catch your foot on it, it just pulls off. So, not only does it just pull the cable away, it means you don't end up pulling the fan down and also pulling yourself down with it at the same time. The battery life, you might ask, is up to 8 hours. So if I just quickly swap it into sleep mode, once it finishes with its 3D, it will reset itself back into the middle. And if I pop that into sleep mode, silent.
I want everyone to hear how quiet that is. That is very quiet. Now, what speed does it go up to?
So, from the back of it, you've got all your control on the back. The speed settings, you've got up to 10 different speeds. So, with this being in the sleep function at the moment, it is on the lowest setting. So, if I start to go through the modes, so now we're up to the second sort of stage of speed, starting to get a little bit quicker. Then we're into the third stage, which now you start to really hear the noise from the fan. And then we go into the highest speed setting, which even on its highest speed setting, and that's putting out quite a lot of cold air, it's still not that loud. I don't think it's anywhere near as loud as any other type of fan that you can get.
Now, it's interesting, you go to the controls on the back here, we've got all these different shortcuts, but for me at home, I don't think I've ever used those, because I always like to use the remote. So it's charged by a USB-C charging cable. Battery lasts a hell of a long time, but on there I can make adjustments on the fly as and when controlling the fan. Now, the other thing that we get asked sometimes is, do you do different sizes? Well, it's a bit of a yes and no, isn't it? Because at the moment we've got one pole attachment bringing it to the height that it is. Where would you normally see the fan being used if it was this high?
So if it was this high, people like to use them on desks at this high, whether you've got a working from home setup and you've got your little office either in a garden room, which I know is very popular at the moment, or even just in a home office in your house. People use them at these, put them on the desk. Even in the quietest of functions, it's the right amount of air to be able to keep you cool at that height. I think with the heights as well, they come with, so not just one big pole. This is actually 2 smaller poles, but as you can see, they just screw together and they all screw into the base just down here. And at the moment, we've got one sort of pole in. Where we'd probably see a lot of these sort of heights, and as George is just showing at the moment, they all push back into the base. So, for example, once you're done with it and we're back to those colder winter days and nights, rather than having to worry about, oh, well, it's all just going to stand upright in a cupboard under the stairs and it's got to have its own dedicated space, these individual poles just simply push into the bottoms like that. And then you've got a little slot here as well, just for your little remote, so you're not worrying about laying it down on the remote. And you might ask, well, where does the head of the fan go when you're packing it away?
Oh, I don't know. Tell me.
So the head of the fan itself, as you can see at the moment, it's just stuck upright, just clips to the front of here. So it will sit upright on top of it. So once that's packed away and together, it's about this tall. So you don't have to worry about having it all stood upright and wanting to get something out of the cupboard and having to move it around.
I just think it's more effective at cooling down a room than a traditional fan because of that 3D oscillation. The ability to move the air around in that different way, I think, is really, really effective. It's also really pleasing to look at as well.
Yeah, I think it's what sets it apart, really. Your typical fan, a lot of people think of, oh, well, they just move left to right.
Yeah.
And the weight of this base, with it being battery powered, means that once this is in oscillation at its full speed, it doesn't sit up and wobble around. Looking at a taller fan, the bases are so small, they start to sort of whirl and wobble around, whereas this, as you can see, it's sort of pirouetting at the moment, it doesn't wobble about.
I like how we've been playing it cool when Ben and I have been picking this up and demonstrating it to you guys, but there is some good weight to this fan. There is some good weight. That is not getting knocked over in a fuss. So, yeah, we're trying to play it cool, just picking up with one hand. But, yeah, there's definitely some good weight to that, isn't there?
Yeah, and I think as well, with it being smart controlled, so if you want to go that one step further and don't want to use the buttons on the back, which we very rarely see people use, or you don't want to use the remote and you're more into your techie side of things, or you've got a smart home setup, you can also connect the fan to your phone as well through the Smart Life app. So it gives you all of the control. So that's each mode setting, the fan speeds, a timer function, and also the oscillation settings, all from your phone.
So you've got the option of having the fan automatically turn off after 1, 2, 4 and 8 hours. The shortcuts take you through to this mode here, which is the 3D oscillation, but you can pair that with the really quiet sleep mode. You can have the eco mode just for general cooling, but keeping the running cost to an absolute fraction. And then the automatic mode, some people ask, what does the automatic mode mean? It means it will just vary throughout the day, throughout different speeds and oscillations. So yeah, I'm a big fan of the Crest. I mean, for years we've done just heating, but it gets to a point that there's almost an expectation. You guys ought to be doing cooling, but we didn't just want to bring out another bog standard fan that you could easily access from anywhere. We wanted to bring out something a little bit different. So this is the Crest, and so far it's been a hit. And we know there's a Heatwave around the corner coming out. I don't know when this episode is going to get produced and put out there, but definitely the right time of year for the Crest to be coming out for this summer. So yeah, should we go through some questions that we get?
Yeah, I think we should.
We've got some questions that we're going to go through and answer. So some of the questions that we've got this week is, how long does the battery last? I think we've already covered that. I think it's up to 8 hours on the quietest setting.
Yeah, so on the quietest setting, you will get around 8 hours of battery life, which is good for those summer nights. If you're a sleeper, that does get their 8 to 9 hours. If you are one of the fewer people that do tend to sleep for 10, 11, 12 hours, I know we know a couple of people. Unfortunately, it might have run out of charge by the time you get there. But for those normal hour sleepers, you will be fine with the battery life overnight.
The battery life is a big bonus, but I don't feel like you have to be tied to the charger cable. Excellent. Let's go through another question that we've got. Can I adjust the height? We've covered that with the 3 different poles, so you can go for this one, the second one, or the third one if you wish. The next one we've got is, how long's the charger? Do we know how long the charger is?
So the charger, we can give you a sort of live demonstration as to how long the charger will be. So if I can untangle it again, let's have a look.
This is why we're doing the hot takes, for live demonstration like this.
So that pulled tight from plug end to the charger end, it's about 2.5 meters. So you've got plenty of distance on the cable itself. I probably am out of shot on this end, so we'll move this in. We might be able to do a diagonal one. So 2.5 meters. So it means if you are sort of tied to one plug in the room, you've still got plenty of length to be able to reach the bottom of the fan to be able to charge it as well.
Very technical. Look at that. Do I have to use Wi-Fi?
No. So with the fan itself, obviously you've got the control on the back of the fan, and you've also got the control with the handheld remote. So no, you don't have to use the Wi-Fi control with it. People prefer to use the Wi-Fi control because it's one less step of having to get up and go to the fan. Most people have always got their phone around them. It's very popular for people with smart homes. I know people have got quite a lot of smart lights nowadays where they turn the lights on and off with an app on their phone. So
I think it's a real mix. You know, we have this with the heating often, don't
Yeah.
we? It's sometimes I feel like there's a big push away from apps.
yeah,
That having a tangible physical controller that you associate with that one device is actually really pleasing, because we have so many apps that we can access nowadays. Is there a push back to actually having things that are easy to control in person like this? So I can really get behind that, and I can understand why people no longer wish to have their lives dictated by app. What if you don't have your phone nearby?
Yeah.
What if you wanted to be cool right here, right now? Then you just want to turn it on. You can do that still with it.
I think a good thing about having the remote as well is it is just magnetic. So you don't have to worry about finding somewhere to put the remote. It simply just magnetises to the front of the fan. So you don't have to worry about losing the remote or misplacing it.
So yeah, we've covered the control it off the phone. How big a room does it cool down? Well, we don't actually have a measurement for that. I guess cooling can be quite subjective, but I guess you would answer that more in the way of use a different speed, maybe to cater for your needs. That would be my answer anyway.
Yeah, and I mean, having one like this in our office, I think we set a rule in the office really for what speed people in the office could have them on, because even for a fan of its size really, having 10 speed settings on the temp speed, it is too much for our office. It's a paper tornado. We've got paper trails going everywhere, and that's just one. So I do think, without knowing a specific number, it will cool a very large room.
Yeah, I'm with you. Well, that wraps up all the questions that we've got there. A big thank you if you've watched us till this far. We'll be doing the hot take weekly, so any questions that you've got, feel free to send them in. We'll be covering new products every week, talking about things that are topical, all things heating related. And really why we're trying to do this is to get across the product, the heating, in a more real sense, because infrared heating is still new to a lot of people. And if you haven't had the fortune of experiencing it firsthand, we hope that videos like this will help get across to you the technology a bit more up close and personal. So thanks for watching. Thanks for Ben chatting about the Crest there with all the different functions that it's got. And catch you for the next episode of The Hot Take.